racing in its purest form. Real car on real roads, real fast. It's the Subaru Canadian Rally Championship on TSN. Hello, Canada, and welcome to the Rallye Perce Neige from Maniwaki, Quebec, about 90 minutes north of Ottawa. Vic Roeder along with Paul Chater. And Paul, before we begin, let's recap what happened in the very first event, the Rallye de Quebec, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, lots of snow and very cold, and a lot of fan support despite the conditions. The Rallye de Quebec was a pace note event run to FIA rules.
It was a great run by Sylvain Eriksson and J.S. Besner, but the 2001 champion, Tom McGeer, well, he kept his winning ways with a fairly easy win over the two Mitsubishi drivers. Fourth in the second Subaru Canada WRX was Patrick Richard, and Joel Levac, an impressive fifth in another 2002 WRX. So back to Maniwaki now, where over 60 cars will compete in this national and regional event. A beautiful day, but Tom McGeer is missing, and we asked Pat Richard about that.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's our first race where we've been to a rally without Tom, and he's been really helping us with things, giving us a lot of tips over the last few years, and hopefully we can represent. So I'm looking forward to it.
And you know, Paul, with Tom out, John Nichols is another driver whose chances of winning have gotten better.
Feeling a little pressure today to go well. We haven't had too good a record of past two events, two DNFs in a row, so we're going to find our own pace. This is more my element, this icy stuff. I haven't really had any experience in this car. It's been very limited, so I'm still getting used to it, but we're going for it.
All right, let's get it going here at the Rallye Perce Neige in Maniwaki. And Paul, first car on the road, John Nichols, Mike Koch in the open class, Lachute Subaru WRX.
Yeah, John should be one of, if not the favorite to win this event. The conditions are perfect for him. Snow and ice are his specialties.
This is the second winter event with this car. He DNF in the Rallye de Quebec with a turbo problem. Now, the first three stages apparently are very short.
Yeah, the first stage is called Maniwaki, and it's only 0.8 kilometers long, and it's pretty rough. It's a spectator stage, not very wide, and you want to be careful because the really long stages will be this afternoon and this evening, and you don't win a rally on a short stage. By the way, the teams are not allowed to use pace notes for this event. We'll see how they do after two rallies with pace notes now that they're back to driving blind.
And you can see that John Sebastian and Jacques Besner in the Mitsubishi Evo 5. Second car out, and they finished third in Quebec.
Jean-Sebastian finished second in the championship last year, and he'll take a serious run at the championship this year.
Always amazed me how those co-drivers are always so calm.
And they managed to keep the drivers calm as well.
Here he is, car number 3, the Group N Subaru WRX. Patrick Richard, Ian McCurdy in the co-driver's seat.
Yeah, Vic, big things expected of Pat this year, particularly here with Tom McGeer not attending. McGeer's not here because he had a previous engagement at the Toronto Auto Show.
After the jump. 90 right.
Really sideways.
Oh boy.
Pass intersection.
A little behind in the steering, up over the bank.
Can't see. Wipers, okay.
Well, interesting, John Nichols
almost there, 100.
earlier had said how icy it was.
Yeah, and look at the concentration on Richard's face.
Look at that.
Big sideways.
And now he's looking out the other window. Forget about the front windshield. You're just looking out the passenger and driver's side windows.
Well done.
Sylvain and Philip Eriksson in their Mitsubishi Evo 4. Last year's winner right here.
Sylvain's a local boy, and he knows most of the roads around here. He's always been a crowd favorite, and he wishes that McGeer was here so he could prove last year wasn't a fluke. And after a good start to last season, the rest of the year was frustrating for the Gatineau resident.
Boy, look at that. You can see it, Paul, how they have to tippy-toe around some of those corners.
Oh, it's slippery. Look, just from sideways to sideways.
And you know something, with a second place in the Rallye of Quebec, Sylvain now has a very good chance of taking over the lead in the championship.
Yeah, it should be a good fight with Nichols, Richard Besner, and a few others for the podium here in Maniwaki.
Another Group N car now. This time it is Brian Scott, David Watts from the U.S. in their Evo 4.
And this is only Brian's second rally with this car, the first being the Rally to Quebec, where he finished 14th while learning the car, so hopefully he'll have a better finish here. Brian used to have epic battles with Patrick Richard a couple of years ago in the P4 class.
Anton Lestage from Lacadie and Yannick Nepper from Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. They are in an Eagle Talon TSI, and they are in P4.
One of the young Quebec drivers who keeps impressing and is still looking for a podium finish. He DNF'd in the first event this year in the Rally de Quebec.
Joel Levac from Rivière-Baudette with Eric Bourbonnais from Saclay, Quebec in another WRX in P4.
And only his second event in this car. He used to drive a GMC pickup truck, so a big change for him.
Well, I remember this guy, a legend, Jean-Paul Perouse with Marcel Paul Raymond from Montreal in a VW Golf in Group 2.
Legend is right. Front-wheel drive car, less power than Group N and P4, but with a master like Jean-Paul, in these conditions, anything's possible. Now watch him left foot brake. He's changing gears with his left foot. You can see him pushing down on the clutch now. He's hard on the throttle, change gears, and now he's really balancing and steering the car with his feet. He's using the left foot on the brake to kick the tail out, but at the same time keep some power on. Oh, he hit a really slippery patch and spun the car right around. But look at how quickly he's recovered from this.
But the idea of the left foot braking, he's actually trying to kick the end around to give it a head start going into a corner?
Exactly, yeah. And he's balancing the car with the left foot braking, and with his right foot, you notice it's still down on the throttle when he's left foot braking. It's keeping the revs up, so he's got some torque and some power coming out of the corners.
But you mentioned it's also front wheel drive. Disadvantage, advantage, you think?
Absolute disadvantage, really, against the four-wheel drive cars in these slippery conditions. But with a master like him driving it, watch the way his feet are just kind of dancing on the pedals, and his hands are so calm on the wheel.
We've completed 3 stages, and John Nichols is your leader by 4. Richard and McCurdy are 27 seconds back. The Canadian Rally Championship on TSN is brought to you by Yokohama Performance Radials. Now you've got control. And by Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive. Welcome back to Maniwaki, everyone. And Paul, this is the service in Montcerf, just north of Maniwaki, where as they say, the real rally now begins.
Yeah, it sure does, Vic. The next 3 stages are tough ones, 24, 13.5, and 44 kilometers, respectively. The biggest concern here will be tire choice. Whether you go with an ice tire or a snow tire or something in between, it can make or break a team, especially on the long 44K stage.
And this is the leader by 4 seconds after 3 stages. John Nichols in the Lachute Subaru.
Yeah, just locked it up a little bit coming into this hairpin turn, but it hasn't cost him a great deal of time. But on the next 3 stages, or where John should pick up more time, is perfect conditions for him, ice and snow, and he's chosen Gardex 720 tires.
Now, John had the second best time on the first stage. He was 3rd on number 2. He won stage 3, so that gave him the lead over Besner. As for Jean-Sebastian, well, he won that first stage, 2nd on 2, and that gave him 2nd place behind Nichols.
And at the same corner, Nichols had trouble, so did Jean-Sebastian Besner. He's got to drive a little conservatively, but he can't let Nichols get too far ahead, and he still has to worry about Ericsson and Patrick Richard right behind him.
It's funny, they're doing it all at the same place.
Yeah, Besner went with the same tires as Nichols, but let's hope it was the right choice, because he won't be able to change for quite a while, and that could mean that Nichols can stretch his lead and the others could catch up to him. He just has to be consistent here.
Certainly not much room, you can tell, and you're right, the bank's like bumpers on a pool table. Now, Sylvain Eriksson won stage 2 this morning, which means that Nichols, Besner, and Eriksson, Paul, have all won at least 1 stage.
Yeah, Nichols also went with the Yokohama 720 ice tire, which are considered a good in-between tire when you've got mixed conditions like this.
Hey, nicely done. Somebody made it around.
Yeah, whether local knowledge or maybe just a little conservative approach.
Oh. Pat Richard is sitting 4th overall after stage 3, but he certainly is within reach of Besner and Eriksson, especially on the longer stages.
Yeah, and if he keeps doing corners like this where the others had problems, he'll be okay. Nicely done.
No instructions, 3 kilometers. This is a good surface for you, Pat.
Here's McCurdy telling him, look, ice has been your problem. Now you've got what you like.
Yeah, there's some dirt peeking through, and he's the only one of the favorites to go on a snow tire for these 3 stages. The Subaru team did some tire testing this week, trying ice tires on snow and snow tires on ice to see the best compromise on these kinds of surfaces.
Ooh, did you hear that?
That did not sound good at all.
As we were with the Ericsson brothers on stage 5.
And he spun it right around.
Something like go, do you believe?
Either that or he just went into the turn too quickly. Oh no, something definitely does not sound good. Yeah, and they've broken a drive shaft, but if they can make it to the service, they might be okay.
He's going to pull over. Pull over. He wants it to pass on the outside.
With Ericsson having a problem, that means Pat Richard is catching up to him.
Okay, go, go, go.
And now passes him and says, thanks very much.
Just barely enough room to get by. He was lucky.
And you know it has to be frustrating for the Ericssons. Ah, yes, the hazards of winter driving in Maniwaki.
Some very creative approaches to this corner.
Looks like Vancouver on the first winter storm of the year. Look at this. Now, in the meantime, Brian Scott, who was 5th after stage 3, got the 5th best time on stage 4, even with a little mistake.
Yeah, and as we've seen previously, he's not the only one making a mistake on this corner.
Now, Brian is an American who will run the full Canadian series with his Group N car.
Yeah, it'll be tough because he's trying to catch up to Besner, Ericsson, and Richard in that class, and they have had more seat time in their cars. Right now, he's probably running at about 60%. His real strength is on the gravel.
Antoine Lestage, who is leading in P4. Paul, he's having a pretty good rally, in fact, and his time's not too far off the more powerful Group N's.
Yeah, he is, and you can see that sometimes a little less speed actually means you can make the corner faster. His father, Jacques, took the start this morning, but unfortunately he went off the road and would retire on stage 5.
Jean-Paul Perouse.
Oh, that hurt.
And leading Group 2.
Yeah, on snow and ice, you know, power's not such a big factor, so a driver with experience, and no question Jean-Paul Perouse has experience, can make up for a lack of power.
Paul, this is Andrew Comrie Picard, originally from Edmonton, but now living in Manhattan, of all places, and driving with Dave Schindel from Virginia. Started 29th, they're now 8th.
And having a little trouble with the snow, but we'll have to keep an eye on them. Andrew's been around for a while. He previously drove a lot of it, decided to make the jump to Group N in a car prepared by 4-Star Racing, and he hopes to compete in the full Canadian Championship.
Back with John Nichols, who finished first on the 4th and 5th stages and is now extending the lead over Besner and Ericsson.
100 jumps and bumps. Oh, I think we found it.
Sounds like a ride of the carnival, jumps and bumps.
Yeah, he knows the other guys have to play catch up, but he also knows that all the power in the world doesn't always help in these conditions. Take a look at all the different surfaces they're dealing with, snow, ice, dirt, and that's all on one stage. It's really a tire war.
It's icy. Yeah.
As for the Besners, well, they're rolling along 3rd fastest on stages 4 and 5, and they stay in 2nd place behind Nichols.
So far, their tire choice seems okay, but they've not taken on the 44-kilometer stage yet, and Pat Richard is getting closer all the time. With Ericsson having drive shaft problems, that's one competitor they don't have to worry about at this point.
Paul, you were mentioning Pat Richard and McCurdy in the Subaru Canada WRX. They are picking up the pace. They were second on the 5th stage, and so they are now 3rd overall.
Yeah, and this is only Pat's second rally in the Group N car, and it's not completely finished yet, so we haven't seen a full show from these two and the car yet.
That is not a healthy sounding Sylvain Eriksson, and you would think that the defending champion will be out sooner than later.
Yeah, you can hear the drive shaft. It's pretty well gone away.
So it would seem to be just another weekend drive for Nichols. I mean, Eriksson is out. The road is perfectly suited to his car, except for this.
Yeah, and watch with a jump and too much speed what can happen.
400 jump.
Here comes the big one.
300 to another jump. Oh.
Oh.
And that's what a rollover and more looks like.
Nasty one.
And obviously that's it for Nichols.
And we came up to this crest here, and it was like a double. There was like a big frost heave, and it kicked the back of the car up. And you'll see it on the footage. And we just flew over like that, and we landed on the nose, and we bounced and rolled, and that was it. Straight line. It's very upsetting.
And when we come back, we'll have a new leader. And we welcome you back to the Rallye Perce Neige here on TSN from Maniwaki, Quebec. And Paul will pick it up stage 6. It's called Le Hibou.
Where's he going to move?
I don't know, but...
Well, there's nowhere for him to move. So just relax a little bit, okay?
Yeah, okay. But this is where we're supposed to get our advantage. The stage.
And you know that Pat is getting impatient.
Yeah, the problem is that Jean-Sébastien Besner has no room to pull over, and Richard feels that he could be making up much more time on this stage. This is where the tire war is being won by Richard, since he's the only one who went with snow tires, and you can see that Besner is just not able to go as fast.
Watch for water hole. Water on
Actually
the road.
using the horn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. Now, where am I supposed to go?
A rear ender out in the middle of nowhere.
I couldn't stop. I just hit the ice.
I know.
Apologize later, boys. Apologize
Stop,
later.
man.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Look at the visibility, how
Well, now
tough
he
it
has to
is.
go behind him, right?
Oh, it's impossible. It's just the worst position to be in a rally when you're trying to make up time.
That one tightens. Good.
And you can see now Besner finally gets his spot. There it is, and Pat makes his move.
Yeah. And now Richard can pull away. Yeah, this surface perfect for his snow tires.
After a 4th best time on the stage 5, Lestage. Well, he runs into a bit of a problem too.
Yeah, he hit the snowbanks on a few occasions and went from 4th overall after 5, back down to 13th after 6. This is winter rallying.
Meanwhile, Picard is like the Jeffersons. He's just moving on up from the east side. He started 29th. He's now 5th overall.
And Besner wants to have a little conversation with Richard. In good fun.
Well, we took a risk. We're the only top team to put it on snow tires. The first 2 stages we lost some time. We lost about 10 seconds a stage to the others. But on the 3rd stage it paid off, and we were able to pull a minute off of the Besners just before we got into a really narrow part of the stage, and we were stuck behind them for about 7 or 8 kilometers, and they hit a water hole, and I couldn't stop, so we had a little bit of contact, but it all worked out. We're all here, and I think we're probably in the lead right now, but it's still anyone's game. It's still a big question as to whether you should run snow tires on that last stage.
So with Tom McGeer not here, it's his Subaru Canada teammate that leads through 6 stages in Maniwaki. Taking a look at the class leaders. In open, it's Comedy Picard. In Group 2, Jean-Paul Perce with the best time on stage 6. P4, Levac and Bourbonnais. Charles Hammer, Patrick Peloquin in P3 in a VW Golf. And in P1, Stefan McNeil, Annie Duranceau in a Justy. And we're back in just a minute. I wonder if that lunar lander is still being used for rallying on the moon.
100.
All those years ago. We're down to the final few stages, the Perce Neige under the moonlight, Paul.
Yeah, the last 3 stages are repeats of stages 4, 5, and 6, but obviously done at night. A bit more difficult in the dark. The roads are a lot more slipperier than they were this afternoon.
And maybe someone should tell Anton Lestage, who won 2 of the last 3 stages, because he has passed Brian Scott and he beat Richard by 18 seconds. He doesn't know slow.
You know, if it had not been for a couple of off-road excursions, he probably would have finished on the podium. By the way, Antoine sold his car and he's in the process of buying a new Group N car, so we'll have to keep an eye on him.
Comedy Picard is in a real fight for 3rd with Lestage, Scott, and Perce.
Not bad for a guy who used to drive a lot of and was a Canadian champion with radio-controlled cars. This is someone we're going to have to watch out for.
Okay.
But nobody was going to catch Pat Richard.
Finally, in his 3rd year, his first win in the Canadian Championship, with lots more to come.
Feels great. The team had a great strategy for the event and it paid off, and that's what won it for us. So I'm really excited, and I would like to thank Subaru for it. This is awesome.
2nd place, the Besners.
It was so close for 3rd that the officials had to wait until all time penalties and protests had been dealt with to figure out that Andrew Connery-Picard had gotten 3rd place over Lestage and Scott.
Interesting. Subaru leads the way, followed by the Mitsubishis with an Eagle sandwiched in 4th. The class winners, Comedy Picard in open. Jean-Paul Peruse in that front drive VW Golf in Group 2. Antoine Lestage is the winner in P4. In Group 3, can't touch this. It's Hammer and Pelican. And that little Justy of McNeil and Duranceau takes P1. And isn't this interesting? After 2 events, Richard is your leader, followed by Besner. Tom McGeer, who was not here, slips to 3rd. The Canadian Rally Championship on TSN is brought to you by Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive, and by Yokohama Performance Radials. Now, you've got control. Our next event is the Bighorn Rally. Check your local listings. Thanks for joining us, the Canadian Rally Championship on TSN, Canada's sports leader.